I'm just a bill, yes I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, it's a long, long journey to the capital city. It's a long, long wait while I'm sitting in committee. But I know I'll be alone. Yeah, yeah, 'cause I hope and pray that I'll be, but today I'm just a bill.
Well, that was a pretty good week. Pretty good. Bill Scher with you, Liberal Oasis radio show. Later in the broadcast, my Campaign for America's Future colleague Bernie Horn on the progressive mandate. That seems to happen with elections. I believe it was Republicans that used to say elections have consequences. Yes, they do. This is, as you know, no small moment in American history. But we must remind ourselves that this is the beginning. This is not the end. You don't get to go take a nap. Yes, Barack Obama has proved himself to be a spectacular leader. And there is great reason to have hope that he can execute in a superb fashion, but it is no means possible to do anything of this magnitude alone. And already there are forces trying to hem him in. The theme of the punditry was, well, it's still a center-right nation. He won't have the money to do all the promises that he made. He's going to have to put on the back burner global warming legislation, healthcare legislation. In a time of recession, that's going to hurt business. All of the same arguments that we've heard in the past. Now, the upside is the one thing that has really been accomplished by the election is that we have defanged their most, the conservative, corporate, the most superficial of their rhetoric. They can no longer simply call something liberal and have it be dismissed out of hand because they just tried that ad nauseum and it failed. McCain's own pollster revealed that their polling showed that more than 60% of the country believes Obama is liberal. Now, Obama himself doesn't use that word. He often says progressive. Liberal obviously has more negative connotations with some, even though I embrace it myself. I acknowledge that only 20% of the country will call themselves liberal. But the underlying policies and issues and vision are another story. But number one, the label itself, liberal, was not damaging enough after 8 years of utter conservative failure to derail the Obama candidacy. So I saw Sean Hannity say, with the selection of Rahm Emanuel, who is by no means a liberal Democrat, Sean Hannity said, this proves that Obama's going to have a hard left-wing administration. Well, you just made that argument last week, and it didn't work. So these guys haven't learned that their most crude arguments have lost their punch. Secondly, they're going to make all the same arguments about big government. Use the big government boogeyman. And I've seen them cite polling that says that there's still great skepticism about government. Well, of course that is true after what you've seen over the past 8 years. But in the exit poll data, actual voters were asked, do you want to see your government do more or do less? 51% said do more, 43% said do less. An 8-point spread. So their crudest attempts are not going to sell on the surface alone. So that allows us to at least lead with confidence. We do not have to be in a defensive crouch anymore. But that is not to presume that that means you don't have to make arguments anymore. That you can just put a government idea on the table and it will be accepted on its face. Everything needs to be argued and re-argued and re-argued. Now, conservatives seem to be in a huge state of disarray, even more so than 2 years ago. And I do not think that they have their brightest lights leading the pack. But whatever disrespect I have for them, I cannot presume that they will stay stupid forever. They will eventually find means to regroup. They will find some point of attack. I mean, just take this whole drill baby drill nonsense. Now, they overshot it in the end, but when they were being a little bit smarter about it and saying, we want to drill for oil because it's part of an all-the-above strategy, they were able to shift public opinion despite all the credibility that they had lost on the issue of energy. So that can happen again if we let our guard down, if we let them, in their position of weakness, in their minority status, still set the terms of the debate, still set the agenda. We have roles to play here. We have our megaphones. We have our media purchase. We have tools that we did not have in 1993 when Bill Clinton was elected with a decent margin, Democratic control of the House and Senate. But there was not this broader community that had voice online, on radio, on cable television, that could give some more weight to our arguments, to make our arguments on our own terms and not have them be constantly distorted by conservative media and by right-leaning pundits. We have to take advantage of these tools. No longer should we see ourselves being in a detached bubble that is disconnected to the heart of America. We are the heart of America. This is our country. We should have no shame in flying the American flag on our lawns, on our houses. We should not have had before, even more so now. Whatever you thought limited America has proven to be wrong. And that was because, in part, because we were able to make arguments. You know, at a time where we thought that a foreign-sounding name would be disqualifying, we were able to make the case that that was ridiculous considering the seriousness of our times. When they had their last-ditch attempt to extol Joe the plumber and to say, this is the heartland of America. This speaks for the working man. We had the means to say, hey, wait a second, this guy is going to do better under Obama's plan than McCain's plan. This is a guy that thinks Social Security is ridiculous, which is not shared by the rest of us. This guy is making ridiculous charges of socialism. We do not have to just stand there and allow them to decide who represents the heartland of America. We have a role to play in that. You and I are as much of the heartland as Joe. And we have to take advantage of those tools. When we come back, we're going to talk with Bernie Horn, Campaign for America's Future. How do we know this really is a progressive mandate? He has done the research. He has looked at what the candidates said and what they won on. We're going to delve into that after the break. This is Bill Scher, Liberal Oasis Radio Show.